Okay, so it's been a while since we did tefillah stuff, and I think so. The plan was we did okay. We last thing we did was hamapio, which I mentioned when we did it that's technically the first of the brachos of the day, even though it's at night. So then the next, what would be the next bracha?
Elokai.
Elokai, right? Yeah. So I was going to go over that with you guys again, but I gave a shiur that I'm happy with on it to my Shall Have It class of 2019, and I'm not really particularly in the mood right now to go back over it. And so I do plan on converting it into a bunch of 5-minute videos at some point, but that's available to watch. So we're skipping Elokai, and so then the next bracha, there's no real order to the brachos, but in Minhag Ashkenaz, at least, it's Asher Yatzar. So I was going to do Asher Yatzar, and then I realized that when you look at the Gemara, there's really the thing that you say before you go to the bathroom, and then Asher Yatzar is the thing you say after you go to the bathroom. And so I thought to myself, like, okay, this thing that you say before we go to the bathroom, even though we're not knowing to say it, it is really interesting. And so I figured maybe we'll spend at least one day on it today, and then if we get interested in going into it more in depth, then we can do that next time. So the Gemara is on Brachos Daf Samach Amud Beis. Okay, so Zev, just to correct, or not to correct, for me to be clear on what you said earlier, you said you did this Gemara, and did you go into like the halachos or anything? Like how we
just, yeah, I mean, we went into the wrong. I mean, I looked at the Shulchan Aruch just on my own.
Okay.
A little bit, just whatever, but
yeah,
not too much.
Is it going to be like boring for you if we do this now?
No, I'm actually very interested in it.
Okay.
I want to get it. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So it says like this. So this is a very at the top of the daf. Oh, and by the way, I just for those of you who didn't see my Al Torah thing video, I guess now this is a recently added feature that you could just click on the source of daf image and then get the entire source of daf from HebrewBooks.org. So that's handy. Okay, so hanichnas lebeis hakisei omer. So one who goes into the bathroom, or one who is entering the bathroom, says, Hiskabdu Mechubadim Kedoshim Misharse Elyon. Okay, so I would translate that. How would you translate that? Hiskabdu Mechubadim Kedoshim Misharse Elyon.
Sure, what was the page?
Samach Amud Beis, at the top of the daf.
Be honored, you honored holy ones.
Yeah.
Whatever, servants of God, I guess.
Yeah, that's how I translate also, right? So be honored, you honored holy ones, ministers of the Most High, right? Of the Elyon. Tenu kavod l'elokei Israel, give glory to the God of Israel. Harpu mimeni ad she'ekanes ve'etze she'eze retoni ve'avo alechem. So harpu mimeni, I believe, I looked at the Masivta Hebrew and it said leave me. Okay, just want to check and see what they say here. Harpu mimeni, they don't explain here. Let's see the English. Yeah, leave me until I enter and do my will. And that's a little bit of a strong thing. Okay, fine. My will, Ratoni. I guess technically it's my will. Va'avo alechem, and then I'll come back to you. Or I'll come to you. Right. Okay, fine. So that's weird, right? we'll dissect the weirdness in a second, but it gets a little weirder. Amar Abaye. So Abaye said, Lo lema inishaki. Person shouldn't say this. Dilma shavki le va'azli. Maybe they'll leave him and they'll abandon him and go. Ella lema. Rather he should say Shimruni Shimruni Izruni Izruni Simchuni Simchuni Hamtinuli Hamtinuli Aj ekanas ve'etze. So Shimruni Shimruni. So plain shot Shimruni Shimruni is protect me or guard me, right? So guard me, help me. Support me, wait for me, until I go in and out. Shekain Darkhan Shel Bnei Adam, because that's the way of man. Okay. And then it says Ki Nafik Omer Baruch Asher Yatzar as Adam B'Chachma, etc. So then that's when it goes into Asher Yatzar. Okay. And the only help we get from Rashi is he says for Hiskabdu, that's the only Dibra Maskell here. El malachim hamalavim oso hu omer. So he's speaking to the malachim who accompany him. Shneimar, as it says, ki malachav yitzav elach. It says his angels will, for his angels, he will command for you, I think. I don't know if 2u or 4u is better. We might have to go into that pasuk. Let's think about it. Okay. So just thinking about the Gemara here. So what are the problems? Let's clarify the problems and the questions here.
Who says you have malachim following you?
Yes, right. So it says that you have malachim following you, right? And as we'll see if we get to the achronim today, the achronim, this is one of the. So I don't think anyone says this now. I mean, I don't know what the Teimanim do. I mean, it's in the Rambam Siddur still. I don't know what they do, but like I've never. Have you ever met anyone who says this? I don't know. So it seems like all the achronim or most of the achronim paskin against it, and even the Shulchan Aruch said that we don't say it anymore. But the Torah and the Rambam do have it. So one of the reasons that they give is they say that, like, we'll hopefully see this inside, is that we're not on the level for malachim to escort us. Okay, but they're dealing with this question here of like, who are the malachim? And the reason why I'm pointing out the poskim is it has halachic nafkaminas depending on who you say these malachim are. You know, yeah. Okay, good. So that's one question. Who are the malachim? Primary question. What else?
Why can't they go in the bathroom?
Yeah, right. Why can't they go in the bathroom? Now, there's like an intuitive answer to that, right? Even though it's not a full answer.
Something having to do with the fact that they're kedusha and
right.
The bathroom's not.
Right. So there's definitely this notion in halacha that kedusha is antithetical to like matters dealing with human waste, right? Does your mind go to a specific place when you think of like the address of that in halacha?
Mezuzah.
Mezuzah
on the base kise.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, I guess my mind goes to a different place. I guess I was thinking more of the not even getting into the issue of Beis HaKisei per se, but the source in the Torah that like the notion of kedusha is antithetical in Torah's B'Ksav, that kedusha is antithetical to human waste.
By the Seid, by the Machna.
Yeah, by the Machna, right? Yeah. So let me. Is that in Ki Seitze?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
The mitzvah to bring a shovel.
Yeah, with a shovel.
The Hiskin Yasid.
Yeah. Hold on. So that would be. Oh yeah, actually, yeah. I'll just search for it. Is it Yasid Tielacha or is it Yelacha or Tielacha? Tielacha. I think it's Tielacha. Yeah. Yasid Tielacha al Azenecha. Right. So let's see here. Yes, this is for the soldiers in the Machna. Yasid Tielacha al Azenecha. So peg should be with you on your weaponry. I think that's what Azenecha is. V'haya b'shivtecha chutz, and it will be that when you sit outside, v'chafarta va, you will dig with it, v'shavta, and you'll return, v'chisisa es tzeasacha, and you will cover your excrement. Ki Hashem elokecha mishalech b'kerev machanecha, because Hashem your God walks in your camp, lahatzilcha v'laseis oivecha lefenecha, to save you and to give your enemies before you. V'haya machanecha kadosh. So there's what I was looking for there. Your camp should be kadosh. V'lo yireh b'cha ervas davar, and there should not be seen in you the nakedness of a matter. V'shav me'acharecha. Yeah, and you will. I don't know how you say v'shav me'acharecha here. V'shav me'acharecha, and let's see what this English says here. And turn away from you. So it's referring to God, and God will turn away from you. Yeah. Okay. So that's, I don't know if this is going to be something that we're going to need to go into, but just keep in mind, like, I think that's the most explicit Torah Shvichsav statement about like bodily waste and Kedusha being antithetical. And obviously this is reflected in lots of places in Halacha, like Yaakov said, or like in Kriya Shema and Tefillah, saying it near Tzoeh, or saying it when you have to go to the bathroom. Okay, fine. So what are the other questions? So anyways, I was saying, so the question that was asked was, why do they have to wait for you? So plain shot is that like they're kadosh, kadosh, and you're going to a makom that is a makom of tzoeh, but we still have to understand that, like, yeah. Okay, what else?
Why are they gonna leave? Like, did they just like they're like forgetting why they are just standing there?
Right. So are you asking on which phrase are you asking on?
The first part, the what was it again?
Harpu me many?
Abaya's objection.
Okay, that's what I was wondering about, right? Yeah. Because I guess you could ask, like, why do you have to ask them to harpu me many, to leave you, and then like why do you have to ask that, and then I guess given Abaya's objection that you have to worry that they're going to abandon you. First of all, what does that mean? Secondly, why like what was the havamina then? You know, like I guess the guy who said this doesn't say who the Mandamar is, but you would think, I guess he thought that they would wait for him. And then Abaya's like, no, if you tell them to leave, then leave. So then what would you think the simple solution to that is?
Just modify the text to take out the word.
Yeah, just take out the word harpu mimeni, right? Or at least replace it with something that is that indicates that they should stay. Like if it just said hamtinu li, so then that would be fine. But then what compels Abaya to add shimruni, izruni, simchuni, and then hamtinu li ache comes ve'ete. Like, why do you need those three things in the beginning? And what do they mean, obviously, right? Because clearly you're not asking them, I mean, just in plain shot, you're not asking them to do this while you're in the bathroom, right? Because they're not going in with you. It's not going to protect you. I think, right?
I guess they can guard the door.
Say again?
They can guard the door. You don't need to be like on your back to guard you.
Could be, right. That's true. I mean, they don't need to be accompanying you. One thing we do have to keep in mind, by the way, is we are, I'm sure, all thinking of modern bathrooms. And one of the issues that comes up here in the Mefarshim is the idea that when you went to the bathroom in the olden days, so when you went to the bathroom in the recent olden days, it was much nastier. But then when you went to the bathroom in the olden days, you had to like go outside of the city, or like outside of like the areas where like all the houses were, and you know, like a far distance. And so I'm not saying that in reference to something you just said. You just reminded me of it when you said door, that there's not necessarily even a door. But yeah, okay, fine. So the main question again there is, what prompted Abaye, based on his objection, to add these three things, these three requests, and then what do each of them mean? And what are you exactly asking the angels to do?
Also, in general, even assuming that the angels are there and taking all that for granted, why are we saying it's sort of a tefillah to the angels? Okay, good. So stronger question. I mean, that's a good question. Why are we saying it's tefillah to the angels? But then you can like infuse that question with Maimonidean fervor if you wanted, right? What would be the stronger form of the question?
It's kfira.
It's kfira, right? It's kfira and it's usher, right? I mean, let's just look at the let's just look at the text here. I liked your tone though, by the way. That is the Maimonidean fervor response. Okay, so let's see. This would be in the Mishnayos Gedolos in Chelek. Okay, so Nezikin, Sanhedrin, 10th Perek, Rambam, 5th. I mean, I guess I could have done it in the Mishnah Torah. Oh no, we're having the Zoom freeze. But this is where you always tell me, oh, I
could hear you until you started to say.
Yeah.
They started to say, this is where you say, I can still hear you.
Yeah.
That's when your voice cut out.
Okay, let's see.
The screen share is moving.
The screen share is what?
The screen share is moving, but your image is not.
Oh,
but we
okay.
hear you, so it's effectively okay.
Okay, that's good. So can you see the Hasoda HaChamishi?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is in the 50 Karim.
No, we can't hear you now.
Frozen again.
And go.
Okay. Yeah. Oh man. All right. What do we usually do here? I think I exit and then I log back in again. So I'm gonna try that and see.
Before you exit, don't forget to say, Shimruni.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's oh, see, now it's so frozen that I can't even move the Zoom thing and exit. All right, well, I'll be back hopefully.
Did he even go up?
I think he's still here.
Yeah, I may have closed it, but like it didn't properly disconnect because Zoom is frozen for him.
He definitely is right about alhatorah.org, by the way. It is fantastic.
Yeah. You like it better in Soraya?
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like navigation is easier in Soraya. Faster.
I mean, this is like, it's very layered, but it's very organized.
Yeah.
There's some very good features also.
This is where you tell me you're on mute, but I preempted you that time. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah,
Right.
we were just talking about Safari versus alhatorah.
Yes. Yeah, I told Isaac that that my meeting, I ended up meeting with the guy for the creator of it for an hour today, and he showed me all the features, and he basically showed me that what I thought, my analogy, this is my own analogy, is like when you're at someone's house and they serve you what you think is the main course, and then you realize that it's just an appetizer. So he showed me that all of the features that I thought were like the main purpose of alhatorah were really just created for the main feature, and I had no idea what the main feature was. So I have to like explore the main, he showed me all the tools and stuff, or not all of them, but a lot of them. And so I have to like find it and then like spread the alhatorah gospel.
What's
okay,
the main feature? Like the Tanakh lab thing?
Yeah, all of the research tools. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, and there were so many buttons, and I just
it's intimidating. I have to figure it out on my own, or use the tutorials. Anyway, as we were saying, the Yesod HaChamishi. So only God is it proper to serve and glorify and make known his greatness and to do his mitzvos. And you shouldn't do this to anyone who's below him in existence. Min malachim, boom. V'hakochavim, and the planets, v'hagalgalim, the spheres, v'yisodos, and the elements, umash, hurkav mehem, and that which is composed of them. Lefi, now he gives reason also. Lefi shekulam mutba'im. Okay, that's a different translation than I'm used to. Shekulam mutba'im, all of them are entrenched. Ve'in pu'ulasam, ve'al pu'ulasam in mishpat v'lo b'chira. And regarding their activities, there is no. See, I don't like that translation. There's no. It doesn't mean that there's no law. What he means is they can't have any say in their activities. They can't pronounce judgments, and they don't have any choice. Ella lo levado Hashem yis'aleh. Rather to Hashem alone, exalted is he. V'chein ein roy la'ovdam, and so too it's not proper to serve them. K'dei liosem emtsaim lekarvam elav, so that they should be intermediaries to bring you close to him. Ella bilvad yechavnu elav bilvad yechavnu hamachshavos. You should direct your thoughts only to him. V'yanichu kol ma shezulaso, and abandon everything besides him. So he doesn't even quote a specific pasuk here, but he says that so it's the fifth yesod. I almost said the fifth element because we said yesod is elements there, and fifth element is an underrated 90s movie or 2000s movie. Shehizir al avodah zara, and that prohibited about avodah zara, and the majority of the Torah warns against this. So not only does it go against the ikar and is kfira, as Zev said. Which, by the way, is interesting because it's if you look at the Ikarim, not a lot of them, or maybe you could argue none of them, have actions that would be like none of them he formulates in terms of actions. There's like Metzius Hashem, Yichud Hashem, Shlius Gashmus, but here he's saying if you praise one of the malachim, then that goes against the ikar. Obviously he's saying conceptually, if you think it's okay to praise them, then that's also a problem, but it's just interesting that here action comes into the picture. So not only is it against the ikar, but it's also irrational according to what he's saying, because God is the one who is the one who dictates what the malachim do, and they're entrenched in their actions and they don't have choice. So the question, what would be the point of addressing yourself to them and asking them to do something? And I think they use I don't know who the they is, but they use the mashal of like if you if there's a guy coming at you with a knife who's going to stab you, and you start asking the knife, please don't stab me, then it's irrational because it's clear that the knife is in the control. It has no control of its own, and it's in the control of the wielder. So too here with the malachim. Yeah. So it's a problem, right? And so it's Asher, right? And it's like if you look in Hilchos Avodah Zarah, let's just look there for the sake of thoroughness. Joe, you were going to say something? I saw you on mute. No. Okay. Where are we here? I hope this doesn't trigger the problem again. So he puts this in Hilchos Avodah Zarah at the beginning of Perek Sheni, which is interesting because this is like before even the Isser of bowing down to idols and like making idols, I believe, if I'm correct. Let's see if I'm correct. Yeah, he says, Ikar Hatzivui B'Avodah Zarah. This is the second Perek, first, what do you call it? Halacha. Oh, by the way, one of the things I found out when I was talking with the guy, with the creator Rabbi Novetsky, is not the creator of the universe, the creator of Torah, is I made a mistake. I made several mistakes about things I said about the features or things I said about the features of other things. So I took the video down. It's still available through the link I sent, but it's not searchable anymore. So one of the mistakes I made is that this is a good version of the Rambam. It's not the Mechon Mamre version, which is why I thought that it was a bad one. This is actually the version of the fancy Rambam that I have, the Mifal HaRambam. So it's like an excellent version. So I retract what I said back then. The essential commandment or the root commandment of Avodah Zarah is to not serve any of the creations. Lo malach v'lo galgal v'lo kochav v'lo echa me'arba hisodos v'lo echa mikol ha'nivraim mehem. So same list that he said before. Even though the person, the worshiper knows that Hashem is God, and he worships the created being in the way that Enosh and the people of his generation did in the beginning, like we went through in the Bekiah here, then that's Oved Avodah Zarah. So here, he's not, it was kind of implicit in his Pirush Mishnayos, but here he's actually saying it's Asher. So there's three problems, presumably, with on the surface here, with these Hiskabdu Mechubadim Kedoshim. Number one, you are seemingly asking a bakasha to angels, which is Asher. Number two, it seems to be going against the Iker by addressing yourself to intermediary instead of to God. And number three, it's irrational. What can they do? Like when you say, help me and support me and guard me, like they can't change their actions. So that's a huge problem.
About Lot and that malach?
Lot and that malach.
You like ask him like, please don't do this, do that, or something.
Right. When he was trying to persuade them to stay, right? Yeah, I guess everyone's always asking these angels to stay. Continually. Yeah. So I know. Okay, I'm gonna do a cop-out answer. Okay. So part of the intrigue here is like I feel like we're gonna have to go into the question of what malachim are, right? So that's gonna obviously be a big that's a matter of a big dispute in terms of among the Rishonim. So I think the question you're asking is really only according to those who hold that Lot was interacting with real beings, like with beings that were in the physical world. Whether you say that it was like the Ramban that angels could take on physical form, or whether you say it's like the Abravanel that it's some sort. I actually don't know what the Abravanel says about angels having will, but according to the Rambam, famous Shita that the Ramban doesn't like, what does the Rambam hold about that incident?
It was a dream, a nevuah? Yeah,
it was Mara HaNevuah, right? And according to the Rambam, anything in Tanakh that involves an interaction with an angel, the whole thing happens in Mara HaNevuah. So Yaakov wrestling with the malach, and what are the other examples of this? Abraham talking with the malachim, right? So that's why. So that is not a question. What is a question is how the Rambam can codify this, right? And that really goes, in addition to the three questions we raised, it shows that like anything in Tanakh that has a person interacting with an angel, if you ask the Rambam and try to have that as a cushy on him, he can say, well, that's a Mara Hanavua, that's a Mara Hanavua, that's a Mara Hanavua. Here you can't say this is a Mara Hanavua. In fact, in the actual halachic text, you are addressing the malachim, you know, so that's a big problem according to the Rambam. While we're doing, yeah, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Rambam has a source, but at this point, the question is not on the Gemara, the question's on the Rambam.
Well, I'll show you the source. Yeah, I'll show you the source. Yeah, it's a good question you're asking. Give me a second. Let me show you the Rambam first, because he does have an interesting thing. He says, so here's his formulation, and play that game, spot the difference, okay? Kolzman she'adam she'yikanas adam levezakisi omer kodem she'yikanas hiskabdu mechubadim I don't know if the commas are, if we need to pay attention. I don't think the Rambam had commas. Hiskabdu Mechubadim Kedoshim Mesharse Elyon Shimruni Shimrunim Ad She'ekanas Ve'etze Ki Zed Darkan Shel Bnei Adam.
We'll see a mixture of both of them. He's cutting out some of the second version.
Yes, right. So there's no Azruni, Simchuni, or even Hamtinuli. Right, just Shimruni. Okay, and not only that, but you know, that's a little difficult with the way that Abaye's objection was, because according to Abaye, the whole thing is you're afraid you're going to leave them. So you would think that the most essential of the requests in the Gemara is Hamtinuli. So how can the Rambam take that out? There's a linguistic answer. What was that?
It doesn't say Harif Meni here.
It doesn't say Harif Meni. Oh, is that what did the Gemara say that? Oh, Harpumi Meni? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
So that sounds like the Gemara itself rejected, though, right?
Saying Harpy Meni, or?
Yeah, right, because Abaye, well, I guess, okay, so I guess I was making that assumption. It's not so clear, you're right. What, I guess the question is, what modification is Abaye suggesting? Is he suggesting you just tack on this into the end of the Gemara statement, or is he saying that you replace this with the other statement here of Shimruni, etc.? You know, because I guess, yeah, I guess maybe I was influenced by the Rambam here, by the Rambam's formulation, because he does not have that part. So I assumed that Abaye had meant to take it out. Let me just quickly see what the if the tour says it. Hold on. Let's see, tour. He's Kedoshim Mesharse Elyon Shimruni Azruni Hamtinuli Ache Kans Ve'etze Shekain Darkan Shel Bnei Adam. Yeah. So he also says, he also takes, well, he takes out the Simchuni, but he also doesn't have that part of the Gemara. So I'm kind of making the assumption here that that Abaye's modification was intended to replace that whole last chunk. I have not checked the riff. Let's just quickly check the riff, which, by the way, someone told me that the Al HaTorah riff is the critical edition of the Al HaTorah riff, which I guess is like hard to come by. I don't learn the riff enough, sadly, to know that kind of thing. Okay, so Sifriya. Oh, and you notice the other minor change that the Rambam had. Wait, was there one other minor change? I'll have to look in a second. Hold on, one thing at a time. Okay, where would we find the riff here? Probably under Mefarshe Shas riff. Brachos. Oh, is this going to give me in the Dapeh riff? Yeah, it probably is. So I would need to know that. There's got to be an easy way to get the riff from here, but I don't know it. So I'm not going to look at the riff right now. Yeah. Okay. So do we have all of our questions here?
Wait, actually, I'm looking in this Rambam.
Yeah.
And he does say Shimruni v'hamtunili.
Oh, really? Yeah. Let me look at my Rambam Siddur. Hold on. Okay, so in the Rambam Siddur, they have this where right where the Rambam has it, which is Asher Yatzar. So this one says, Hiskabdu Mechubadim Kedoshim Mesharse Elyon Shimruni Ad She'ekanas Ve'etze Ki Zed Darkan Shel Bnei Adam. And it said, I read the footnote earlier today when I was looking at this. and it does not seem like there's any other version of the Rambam of the
What?
like the Yemenite Rambams.
That's crazy. So what is this version then? I thought this was a good version. I guess not.
I mean, there are different good versions. Yours says Hamtinuli. Let me just check and see here in the footnote. So footnote. Okay, so here we go. So here's what the footnote guy says. So he says, Ksuv haki brov hakisve yad. So it's written like this in the majority of the manuscripts. Kasuv shimruni pam acha. So it's written with just shimruni once. Okay. Ksuv haki betachlil atik uvetachlil echad mishnas hashinmem. I don't know what year that is. V'sham hosif tevas tohorim achar tevas kedoshim delel b'samach. Okay, so it's written like this in the old Yemenite Siddur, and there's one version that says tohorim in after kedoshim. Okay, fine. So in some manuscripts and in the sealed edition in the Rambam, in the Sefer Hamuga, the one that the Rambam signed off on, it says Shimruni twice. Blah blah blah. I did not find anyone who says Hamtinuli. Velomi shehosif tevas hu la'achar tevas darchan, and no one who says who after hu darchan shabnei adam. Or darchan shabnei adam who achar darchan, yeah, so darchan who, yeah, fine. So it says like he doesn't say that. Let me just see if there's anything else that says that continually.
Yeah, I can send you a picture of it.
No, I believe you, but so there's no yeah, he doesn't say that there's any manuscript that says it in the authentic manuscripts. So interesting. I don't know where there's a footnote that says where they got that one from.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So there is a way to be Melamed Zechus, not on your edition of the Rambam, sadly, but there is a way to translate Shimruni that is as wait for me, right? There's a pasuk in Mishlei, but it's in the part of Mishlei that I don't learn. Let me see. Where is it? Let me just see if I can find it. I think it's in the 8th parak. Either that or I'm like remembering a similar sentiment, not the same word. Yeah, that's it. Asher Adam Shameli Lishkot Adal Sosa Yom Lishmor Mezuzos Pesachai. So for Lishmor, I think they say like Lishmor does not necessarily mean guard. It says,
I mean, you still have problems in the Rambam even if you say.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm just trying to address like I'm trying to salvage. Yeah, I'm trying to do things.
Limited at least a little bit.
Say again.
It does limit the issues a little bit.
Right. Okay, so maybe not in these Mefarshim here. Okay, so the question is, where do you want to go right now? So one route we can go is we could do a quick overview of malachim. Obviously, that's like a very like broad topic, but we obviously need to do it at some point just to understand what's going on here. The other issue is we could start from the issue of how can we like address this to malachim. Like that's, I guess, the most major halachic issue. Or we could just try to understand what it. I don't think we're going to understand what it means without understanding the malachim. So, what do you want to do?
Just kind of seem similar. What are two options?
Two options are define what malachim are, or tackle the issue halachically, like just presuppose any definition of malachim and then say how are we allowed to say this bukasha.
I mean, maybe not like defining malachim in general, but like what is meant by malachim here, or maybe what is the idea of kedusha versus like kedusha versus like disgusting places. Like, why are those opposites?
Yeah, that would be another place to start. Yeah, I mean, that one I feel like I need to figure out how to approach that one. I don't think we're gonna be able to do it in by exploring here. How about this? How about let's without going into all of these sources about malachim, could I give you just a quick crash course on malachim?
Sure.
Okay, so this is the crash course I give my students when it comes to malachim. So it's all based on mostly. This is from my Eov class, so it's based only on the Rambam. This is not an overview of all the shitos of malachim, because I only teach Eov based on the Malbim, the Rambam, and the Ralbag. Okay, hold on just 1 second here. Stop share. You sure? So this is just in summary form. I don't really quote the sources here. Okay, so malachim. Okay, so what does the word malach literally mean?
Work.
Yeah, work. Good. That's exactly what it is, right? So I like translating it as agent. But it's the same shorsh as malacha according to the Ibn Ezra. Okay. Yeah. Okay, right. So, oops, I gave it away. Right. So, how do you define malacha? I mean, I know this is a big thing, right? We all know that it doesn't actually mean work, right? But how would you define malacha? Like it's not labor, you know?
Creative craft.
Okay, creative craft is good for Hilchos Shabbos Malacha, right? And it's not wrong, okay? But because, so in my Eov class, because I teach it according to the Malbim and the Rambam, and because the Malbim expresses everything in terms of, well, and also the Rambam expresses everything in terms of Aristotelian lingo. So I tried to give an Aristotelian definition, okay? Transformation of matter in accordance with lawful design. So if you just stop and think about that for a second, okay, that elicited a grin there, Joe. That when you build a table out of pieces of wood, so you have the table, which is the matter or the material, and you have a design, and you are you're transforming that pile of wood, transforming meaning endowing it with a different form than the individual pieces of wood. Right? Or if you think of any of the malachos, right? That's what we mean by creative, is you're taking something which is either a raw substance or something which is material in relation to a higher thing that you're making it into, you know, like you have the wheat, which is the raw material, and then you apply the transformative process of tchina, of tochen, of grinding it, you know, into flour. And then you take the flour and then you transform it based on the melechas hapas, right? Of the the whole thing is malachas pas, but like, I meant malachas pas in the like bread making skill sense, you know. I gave examples on the PowerPoint. I forgot about this. So when builders construct a building, they're taking matter, steel, concrete, bricks, etc., and transforming it in accordance with its design, which we represent in the blueprint. The design obviously is not the blueprint. The blueprint is a representation of the design. The design is a conceptual ordering of the material, and it's greater than the sum of its parts, right? Like once they are arranged in that unity, there is something else that they are now that's not just the way that, you know, you haven't made any material change when you stack bricks into a pyramid. Like, you've not taken away any material, but it is now something that's greater than the sum of its parts. Second example, when potters make pottery, they're taking matter, i.e. clay, and transforming it in accordance with the design, the shape of the pot. Okay, so what are malachim? So malachim are that which transform the physical world in accordance with Hashem's lawful design, with Hashem's malacha, right? And that's the mashal that it uses in Bereshis, right? Is that God, it calls the entire universe malacha, which is matter informed by design. In this case, design of the designer with a capital D. When we were doing our Koheles here, I mentioned when we were talking about Yisron. So I said that Yisron and bracha are two examples of a placeholder term. So the way that the Rambam uses malach and the way Chazal use malach, according to my understanding, is it is also a placeholder term. It's a functional term, right? It's not a specific thing. You can't say like, draw me a malach, in the same way as you can't say draw me a Yisron or a bracha. So what is a malacha? So here's your definition now, okay? Is any agent of Hashem's malacha. Okay, that which brings about Hashem's malacha. So if you want to say it in more modern terms, you could say an agent of causality or an agent of cause and effect, but I think that's imprecise. It's really anything that brings about or maintains Hashem's malacha. So there is a perek in the Mor Nevuchim, I forgot which perek it is offhand, where the Rambam lists all of the examples of things that are referred to as malach in Tanakh. Okay, so just look at this like list, and you'll see what I mean. Why you have to say it's a placeholder term. So malach is used to refer in Tanakh to human messengers that we know, prophets, right? Nevi'im are sometimes called malachim, and in fact, that's the Ibn Ezra's approach to the malachim visiting Lot and the malachim visiting Abraham, is that he holds that they were human beings who were Nevi'im. There are problems with that approach also, just like there are problems with all the approaches. Prophetic content. So this is also very familiar. Like when it says that that Moshe Rabbeinu saw the malach in the fire of the bush, it means he had a Mari HaNevuah. Or when it describes the malach visiting so and so, it means that it's talking about the entire vision is the malach. Or when it says that all the other Nevi'im talk to Hashem through a malach, but Moshe talks to him panim al panim. So it's clear with the way that the Rambam's using it that through a malach means through the imagery, through the images that and sensations and the whole experience that the Navi gets. The human imagination is called a malach, that we're going to be doing if we decide to do the Ralbag on Chumash allegorical Gan Eden thing. Okay, the human intellect is sometimes called a malach. The Yetzer Hara is sometimes called a malach. Animals and their movements are sometimes called malachim, elements of nature, right? The famous example is in Barki Nafshi, Ose malachav ruchos masharsav eish lohet, right? That fire and wind are considered malachim. Natural forces, all laws of nature are called malachim. And this is the Rambam's statement here. So when this is out of context, or not out of context, there's a much larger context. When he's talking about the midrashim that say that God consulted with the malachim before creating the world. So what it means is these passages, he says, these passages do not convey the idea that God spoke, thought, reflected, or that he consulted and employed the opinion of other beings, as ignorant persons have believed. How could the creator be assisted by those whom he created? They only show that all parts of the universe, even the limbs of animals in their actual form, are produced through angels. For natural forces and angels are identical. That's the zinger line, right? That all the laws of nature, according to the Rambam, are malachim. And if you think about it, that's what are laws of nature? They are that which maintains the form of the universe, right? Is that what is the universe? It is a bunch of laws governing matter and maintaining it in a certain order. So the natural laws are malachim. They are how Hashem does malacha, the malacha of the universe. So it's a very clean application. I don't think it's a stretch to say that it's this. Yeah, Zev?
That includes hashgacha pratis, right?
Right.
That's
right.
included in that?
Yeah, all my current understanding is all hashgacha is through malachim. Skip. Hold on.
Wait, also, how are we defining like law, or like something like that, like
in terms of like the universe?
Yeah, like what? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So how would you define law in terms of the universe? I guess the hard for me to define it without yeah, how do you for me to define it? Like I mean, the simple answer, what I'm struggling with is the simple answer is it's the form of the universe, but what that means in particular and what that means in modern terms is very difficult, Yeah, I actually don't even know what the current consensus is on what laws of nature are. Like, are there such things as laws of nature in the current scientific paradigm, or is that just a description of a human category, or what is a force according to science? Like a force is not, forces, see, here's what I'm struggling with here. Let's take gravity, even though like I know gravity is much more complicated than the concept of gravity that like we intuitively have from like books and apples falling, but gravity is not matter. Gravity is a force that governs matter. So gravity itself is not physical. It operates on physical things and affects physical phenomena and stuff. But the law of what we call the law of gravity, it itself is not physical. It's not made of elements, Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I hope that's something to work with. Hold on, I had one more slide that I thought was helpful, but maybe it's not in this PowerPoint. Let me look in one more place here because this would cap it off. Where would I look? What year was it? It was 2019 in the spring.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Definition that we've constructed until this point of malachim,
yeah,
is that to the exclusion of whatever supernatural being? Like
no, so that's I think what Zev was asking in a different way with the is hashgacha malachim.
Okay.
Right. So however you say God operates, it is like it's first of all whenever you have like a miraculous phenomenon. Let's take for example like the Amud Ha'esh and the Amud Ha'anan. Like that. Those are described actually in the Psukim as malachim. But they're and that is intervention in the laws of nature. But it is Hashem pulling the puppet strings, so to speak. And regarding the supernatural beings that appeared to the Nevi'im in their Nevuah, that is all part of the Mara Nevuah according to the Rambam. Again, it's each of the three, like Rambam and Ramban and Abravanel, in my mind, are the ones that have like three very different views of what a malach is. And so I only really am familiar with the Rambams. I'm familiar with the Ramban's critiques of the Rambam, but I don't understand the Ramban's Shita on its own. I'm familiar with the Abravanel's critiques of the Ramban and the Rambam, but I don't know what the Abravanel Shita is. So yeah. This is what I was looking for here. This is another great line in the same parak, right? How bad and injurious is the blindness of ignorance. Say to a person who is believed to belong to the wise men of Israel that the Almighty sends his angel to enter the womb of a woman and to form there the fetus. He will be satisfied with the account, he will believe it, and he will even find in it a description of the greatness of God's might and wisdom. Although he believes that the angel consists of burning fire and is as big as a third part of the universe, yet he considers it possible as a divine miracle. So this is in the context of him talking about how people conceive of angels as physical things, and that they hold contradictory views of angels. They'll say the angels are seraphim, burning fire, yet they'll see a member of Chazal that says that the angel enters the womb of a woman to form the fetus. Okay, so that's his critique. But tell him that God gave the sperm a formative power which produces and shapes the limbs, which we now know is DNA, and that this power is called angel. And he will turn away, for he cannot comprehend the true greatness and power of creative forces that act in a body without being perceived by our senses. Our sages have already said, for him who has understanding, that all forces that reside in the body are angels, much more the forces that are active in the universe. So that's a good depiction of like decoding, statements in regards, based on this definition of malach here. So that's your overview of malachim. So the question is, how does that, or does that help us in our case here with the Gemara? Let's go back to the Gemara. Right. So if you substitute agent of Melechas Hashem, okay, then what is it referring to when it says, what are the agents of Melechas Hashem that accompany us, that can't go into the bathroom, that we can address, and like that wait for us? I mean, it's a riddle, right? This is like a riddle. And according to Rashi, so Rashi actually just says it's the malachim that accompany you. He doesn't, nowhere does it say that there's two of them here, right? I was assuming that because those are all Gemaras that say that there are two malachim that accompany people. But then also, I was assuming that because of Shimruni, but maybe that's not a warranted assumption. Like maybe it's just double lashon of like being urgent,
No, it does say Mechubadim Kedoshim.
No, so that means multiple, but I'm saying like, right. Does it say like output too? Yeah.
Wasn't there also a Chazal that like there's like 10,000 or something on each side?
Right. There's like, it depends on what malachim you're talking about and like what role or what capacity they're serving in. Yeah.
I think the thing you're talking about is about Shadim.
That Dev is talking? No, there's other statements like that about malachim, malachei chavala. There's actually a part of the Haggadah that is disputed among the Rishonim about whether it's actually part of the Haggadah or not, that describes God descending and being surrounded by malachei chavala. And it says the number, I think. Yeah. So let's see here. you have any intuition or guess about the these malachim here? I mean, it'd be nice to get one move before we end for today, which has to be in 5 minutes exactly.
Zev?
I mean, yeah, I don't know, like.
Are you like the malach guy?
What?
Are you like the?
No. Just because
you've done this before. Is that why you said that?
Yeah. No. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Does it have something to do with like your mind? I guess that you can't like think about Torah or like
right.
God
yeah.
And
okay.
stuff.
Good. So I think it's gonna have something to do with that. So let me leave you with one source, which is gonna solve some problems and create other problems. So the Rambam in the Nebuchim Gimel Chaf Beis says, when he's talking about the Satan and the Yetzer Hara and the malachim aves, so he says, the Acher shebe'arnu lanu sheYetzer Hara hu hasatan v'hu hamalach. So this is something that, like, is, I assume is well known, right? That the Satan and the Yetzer Hara and the malachim aves are all just names for the same thing. Okay. Ritzoni lomar shehu gamkein yikare malach mipnei shehu besoch b'nei ha'elokim. This is in his explanation of Eov. It's also called a malach because it's included among the groups of b'nei ha'elo. I think this should be b'nei ha'elohim. Yihye gamkein yetzer tov malach be'emes. So the yetzer tov is also called a malach. Im kain zeh ha'in ha'mefursam b'divrei chachmenu zal shekol adam nilvu elav shnei malachim echad miyamino ve'echad mismolo hem yetzer tov v'yetzer ra. So whenever Chazal say that there are two malachim that accompany a person, these are the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Ra. Ubabir Amru Zal, the Gemara Shabbos, B'shnei HaMalachim Ha'ele, it says in the Gemara Shabbos, Echad Tov, Echad Ra. So in other words, there's some members of Chazal that just say there are two malachim that escort you, but they don't specify what the difference is between them. And then in the Gemara and Shabbos, which is the source of the minhag of, or the song of, and the minhag, I guess, of Shalom Aleichem, right? So then that's that it specifies echad tov echad ra. Urei kama gila lanu zeh hamamar mi plius v'kama hesir midimionos bilti amitios. And the Rambam argues, if you look at the context of this whole thing, that the only malach that you can call ra is the Yetzer Hara, because everything other than human beings, everything is tov ma'od in the universe. Human being is the only creature that can choose to do ra. And the thing within him, the force within him that causes him to do ra, is a malach, right? It's doing Hashem's will, right? The Yetzer Hara is your animalistic component, so it is acting along with Hashem's will, but it is a malach ra in that sense, that it leads you towards ra. So this solves the problem of giving us a candidate for who we're talking about here, but it creates another problem, which is, or not creates another problem, it doesn't answer many other problems, which is, again, what are you doing when you're saying, wait for me and guard me and help me? How can you dive into them? What does it even mean for them to wait outside? Like, I've never seen someone go to the bathroom and then just as soon as they go in, they just lose their intellect and like all their Yetzer Hara. Like, it's clearly not like literal that you're leaving your Yetzer Hara and your Yetzer Tov at the door, And if you're doing that, so then why not say like, okay, Yetzer, leave me. And then you like grab onto the Yetzer Tov and hold it back. You're like, no, you can stay. Like the Yetzer Hara, just go away. And then all you need to do is just use the bathroom once in your life, get rid of the Yetzer Hara, and then that's it. So obviously we're not taking this literally, right? But so I guess the question will be, let's think about those questions within this framework. And I'm not saying to the exclusion of other frameworks. If you can understand the Ramban's idea of angels, that there are actual somehow beings accompanying you. I mean, I don't even know if the Ramban would disagree with this here. But if you understand another idea of angels, let's try out different ideas. It's just that I'm only really have a fluency in the Rambam's idea of angels. So that's why I'm like inclined to work it out that way. And because since the Rambam paskins that we do say this, he has to have something in mind when he, that you should say when you say it. So it's going to have to be consistent in the Rambam. And I feel like our best shot as a consistent shita is from the Rambam just because he wrote about it so much. Okay, I got to go leave the Zoom room for my next year because it's in a different Zoom room. So we'll have to Bli Neder continue next week. Okay. See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Wow.
Thanks.